Hey guys, it's me, People again. I'm back for my team tier list for this month. This video did very well last month. A lot of interesting suggestions. Some people said they maybe wanted me to talk about specific modes characters are good in. So I came back this month. I did move around a couple teams, and I sort of added in this whole idea of what modes characters are good in. So if you look at this tier list, this might look a little overwhelming right now to you, but do not worry. All that I added is now next to each team. There'll be the team, and then I have a little picture next to them that shows what mode I think they're good in or what their specific use is. So you see a lot of pictures here and you might be like, "Ooh," but it's really not that much. It's one picture per team right to the right of them. Just shows what mode they're good in. So don't get overwhelmed by this. There's really not that much going on. I just added a little extra column by each team to help clarify what they're good at. I did move around a couple of teams from last time. Well, first off, I added two teams. I completely forgot about the Avengers last month. They're so forgettable. I literally just didn't even put them on the list last month. And then I also added X-Force. They're new here, and I did move Shield, and I believe that is it in terms of teams that I moved around. I just moved Shield down one. I just didn't think they were that great. So that's about it in terms of what I've changed. But let me zoom in now, and we'll talk about everything on this tier list and what modes and all that kind of good stuff. So again, I'm doing this like my normal tier list where I'll look at it actually live instead of having gameplay, because again, I think you guys seem to respond positively to me looking at it live and being able to see everything up close. So first off, we have S tier, Black Order, X-Force, Inhumans. Nothing's changed since last month. I believe Black Order and X-Men are really focused on Arena and Blitz. They're very PvP oriented. Inhumans are also very PvP oriented, but they're also a counter team, specifically for characters like Red Skull. Black Bolt really counters Red Skull with his sort of the fact that you can't revive people, and Black Bolt's on the team. Next up, we have the A tier, same as last month, except Shield isn't here. It's AIM, Asgardians, Symbiotes, this Kree team right here, and then I added in X-Force. So AIM and Asgardians, I think, are both good raid teams, and then they're also, I'd say, good Alliance War defense teams. Now, technically, AIM also is an Alliance War offense team because, like Graviton's kit, it's just war, not specific to either side. But I think you usually see them on defense as opposed to offense because I think there's so many good teams you can use for offense. I think most people usually just use them for defense. Symbiotes are a raid team, very focused on raids. Technically Dark Dimension too, but I didn't add Dark Dimension as a thing here because I don't think there's that many. I think it's not a team thing for Dark Dimension. It's more a character thing for Dark Dimension. So I didn't add a category for Dark Dimension teams. But I'd say this team is very focused on raids. This Kree team, it's really a Blitz Arena team, just to sort of use up your leftover Kree characters and put them on a team together. And of course, X-Force is an Alliance War offense team. We'll have to see how this team actually shakes out in game. We do not have X-23 yet, but I think they're a competent team, and I believe they will do well in Alliance War offense. If they're not Alliance War offense, I think they will still maintain most of what makes them good, but they'll be really good in Alliance War offense. So I think they're good. Really what you're comparing X-Forces against is teams like Fantastic Four, the Power Armor, teams like that, like other offense teams, and I think X-Force is better than both Power Armor and Fantastic Four. Especially Fantastic Four, because Fantastic Four has too many traits, I think, that are limited to only Alliance War offense. I think that's what sort of brings X-Force above the Fantastic Four team. But looking at B tier, what we can see over here, Supernatural. I added their counter / PvP team, very PvP oriented, but I've heard they're very good at countering other teams. What teams they're good at countering, I don't know. I don't know that much about the Supernatural team, but I do hear a lot of people say they're kind of like a counter. So that's why I added that little categorization to them. Fantastic Four, Alliance War offense team, that's it. Brotherhood, they're sort of a counter team, the blind and all that, and they're sort of good against shield teams and stuff like that. And I'd say they're generally used for Alliance War offense. I think that's where you see them sort of used a lot. Power Armor, Alliance War offense. Marauders, an Alliance War defense team. Guardians of the Galaxy, well, this BKT team is a raid team, so that's why I had that categorization. And I'd say Shield, if you put Coulson in here, it's a Alliance War defense team, and if you don't put Coulson, I'd say it's a raid team. You could always use Coulson for raids, but I think you're better off using another minion, and then it'll be a raid team. C category, I think the Defenders are a very PvP oriented team, like Blitz and Arena. Red Skull, Alliance War Defense team. Mercenaries, Alliance War Defense team. Brawlers, I'd say, is really a PvP team, you know, Blitz and Arena. And then I would say Guardians of the Galaxy can be a raid team if you put somebody like Thanos in there. But I wouldn't keep Drax if you put Thanos in there. Or otherwise, I'd say they're mostly just focused on PvP, because if you don't have sort of an energy fueler in there, they're really just like a big burst team, and then that's about it. Then we have the Wakandans. They're a raid team. Kree, I would say, are also mostly used for raids. You can use them for PvP, but I think when you're building them, like when you're looking for teams to build, and you're like, why would I build Kree? I'd say maybe because you want another mid-tier raid team. I just don't think there's any. I think the problem is there's not a ton of use for them. I'd say they're best in raids, but they're not even that good anymore. I'd say you're better off using a team like Symbiotes or something like that for raids. But I'd say that is what the Kree is best at, because they don't really have like a big burst move. It's a lot of just sort of steady energy flow and that kind of stuff with the team that I think makes them good for raiding. And then the Sinister Sixes, of course, I'd say a counter team first and foremost. They're sort of a very precise team you save in case you don't even really need them anymore, because there's so many better teams than defenders, but you keep them around in case there's a City Heroes team and you want to take them down. That's sort of the Sinister Six's big role. Next up, Hand, Avengers, Ravagers. I put Blitz PvP on them. You know, nobody uses them, so I don't think there's that much of a focus on them. You know, who cares about them down here? And then Wild Card, it's the same as last month, except I did add in Shuri and Magneto to here, because I was told in the comments to add them in here because they're also good for a lot of different teams, so I added them in. So overall, that's the tier list. You know, of course, I'd always like to hear what you guys think about this down below, what your thoughts are on this tier list. I think it's a pretty accurate representation of the game. Probably the most interesting thing I'd like to hear from you guys is if you agree on what modes characters are best in. I definitely think you could make some arguments, you know, that some characters are good for other modes than how I added them in here. But really, I tried to think on just generally like what are these what's their best mode, and what's you're going to be using them the most in. So that's sort of my mindset when I did this. And I think I included all the big modes: PvE with raids, then Alliance War Defense / offense, big focus there. And I did want to do just Alliance War only, but the difference between Red Skull on offense and defense is pretty significant, so I just had to sort of create different categories for offense and defense. And then there's some teams that I think are really built to counter other teams, and then Arena / Blitz is just sort of those PvP teams. So a really interesting tier list. Again, I think X-Force, I think they're really good, especially when you compare them against the other teams they're sort of have a similar use to, and that's the Fantastic Four and the Power Armor. I think they're better than that. And then, of course, Avengers, who cares about them? Next month, we should be seeing, I believe rumors, Squirrel Girl should be coming. So I had to guess she'll probably go on the Brawlers team right here, right next to Kamala Khan and American Chavez. So that's kind of exciting. A lot of people don't like Squirrel Girl. I enjoy some deeper cuts coming to Marvel Strike Force. And I always thought Squirrel Girl was a fun enough character with a fun design. So I'm all for her coming to Marvel Strike Force. I really don't mind. You know, I mean, of course, you could argue there's better characters to add, but I don't know. I think Squirrel Girl's still a fun character to have in the game, you know. I don't know, there's a new character. I don't know, it's all good with me. And then what's also cool is I think it's an X-Men themed patch, so I believe we're getting Beast and some other characters. So we'll have to see how that sort of shakes out. From what I understand in the data mines, Beast is trying to lead a raid team. He's going to be a support character. So next month we may be seeing probably a change of the Brawlers team because Squirrel Girl will be in there. But we might see a new raid team. Like we have this X-Men team, but there might be a second X-Men team in here with Beast that focuses on raids and the such. I hope they add enough X-Men though that you can do 2 teams of 5. I really hope with the X-Men as they keep adding more, we can keep on creating an optimal you know, amount of teams with the characters, and we have to leave like 2 or 3 characters behind, because right now we already have excess characters with Psylocke and the such. So if they added like 2 or 3 more X-Men, we would be close to having enough characters where you could build 2 teams, no matter which way you cut it. So I think that'd be really nice for them to add in next month. But yeah, at the end of the day, what do I really know? Because I am only an 18-year-old. Today's a pretty exciting day because I will actually physically graduate. As some of you guys do know, I am an 18-year-old. So our graduation got messed up because of coronavirus. But today, I actually do get to physically graduate. I think you guys can see in the background there, my white clothes I have to wear beneath my gown. So exciting day for me, but an exciting day even just here because I love doing the team tier list. So I hope everyone's gonna have a happy and healthy day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Signing off, everyone.